I got some real okra trees going now. For the longest time, we've always wanted to pick our okra when they're about finger length because they are the tastiest when you're cutting them up fresh. However, we have found a way to make the bigger, longer ones palatable by making them into crunchy snacks. And I'm going to show you how to do that today, and then I'm going to show you the other way to preserve your okra. We've got a bunch coming off right now. Once you get done with your picking, bring it on inside. I've got a washable basket here that I like. It's got the holes already in it, so I can just drop it in the sink. We're going to want to rinse this stuff off really good, and then we're going to set it over on a towel and let it dry. And as I'm washing these, I'm kind of sizing these together so that everything is similar. My smaller ones I'm going to prepare and freeze after I chop them up. And then these longer, woodier ones, we're going to make them real crunchy, tasty snacks. If you like okra, this is a great way to preserve your harvest and not have to throw out a whole bunch of them. It has been so dry and drought ridden here. Thank goodness for the drip irrigation, but I mowed the other day, and when I did it, basically large sections of the backyard turned into the dust bowl, and so it makes it even more important to wash this stuff off. Little nose ring there. Now over here I've got me a staging area. I've got some parchment paper that we're going to use later with some extra virgin olive oil and salt. But right now I'm going to pat all of these okras off, the ones that I'm going to dehydrate, and I'm going to stack them up over here and get them ready for cutting. It is indeed important though to try to get all that moisture off you can, since we're going to be dehydrating them. Got me a little deal off to the side to throw these bits in. I'm going to take the tips and the ends off, and I'm going to set them over here on the parchment paper. Okay, so now that we've got that done, I'll take all that and throw it in the compost, get it out of the way here. And I'm going to kind of stop here and spread these out, because I want to make sure that I don't coat so many that I can't actually get them into the dehydrator at this point. And the next thing that we're going to do here is we're going to take us some olive oil. We're going to drizzle it all over these and mix it together, and then we're going to hit them with salt. But before I do that, I'm going to put on some gloves. You could certainly use a bowl for this as well. Nothing wrong with that. I don't have to wash a bowl. I can use this parchment paper here and accomplish the same thing. Now, you don't have to massively coat these. You just want a light coating. We're going to come through and just give it a little spritz here on all of them. It won't take very much. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come through with salt. Now, you could season these in just about any way you want. Kiwi Kate likes her salt on them, so we're going to salt them. You could do, I guess you could do garlic, I don't know, Montreal seasoning, cayenne. If you wanted hot snacks, you could do that. And the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to take our gloves here and kind of make sure all of these are coated and move them around. We're going to kind of grease them up here just a little bit before we put them in the dehydrator. If you've been trying to dehydrate okra and having issues, this is the missing link. We tried it without it, because your inside is going to want to stay moister than the outside by giving it that coating, and then also the salt and all that. It really seems to help it. So now that I've got them all schlicked up here, I'm going to start laying these things out on our dehydrator. And this is just a cheap little Presto food dehydrator, one of the cheapest ones you can get. And honest to goodness, this is probably the best way to do your okra, short of buying a $3,500 freeze dryer. This is a fantastic way to save the okra you were just going to throw out anyway. And as far as runtime on this, you're going to run them for, depending on your dehydrator, we run ours for about 24 hours here, and that seems to work really good. Depending on how crunchy you want it. The first time you do it, just monitor it and see what you think, you know. And what I like to do with this dehydrator, since it's going to run so long, it's going to be kind of noisy and it's going to generate heat out the top, is I've got me an extension cord set up out on the back patio, and I just run it out there. It's August and I really don't want to heat everything up massively. If it's going to rain, I probably wouldn't do it. If you got rain in the forecast, you don't want, because it's going to suck a lot of air, and you don't want moist air going into the thing that you're trying to dehydrate. Well, I'm glad I stopped where I did, because I just about maxed it out here. There we go. We'll get this lid on, we'll plug it in, And we'll show you what it looks like here in about, oh, hiding on me there, wasn't it? It's like playing Tetris with okra. Go plug her in. Okay. Nothing too fancy or high tech here. Now at this point, we're just going to plug in. I want to make sure that everything is sealed up, and it is. We're level. That's it. We'll come back in 24 hours and see what we got. Time to do the dishes. Done. Well, it's the next morning. We just turned the dehydrator off. Let's check it out here. You can see here they've really come down and nice and crispy. Let's check the sound here. Oh yeah. Now all we have to do is we'll take a Ziploc bag and we will bag these things up and have some really nice, tasty, crunchy snacks. This is a great way to deal with those big old longhorn okras and still get some decent food out of it. But now what I'm going to do is I am going to get this other okra, I'm going to chop it up, and I'm going to show you a great way to preserve it in your freezer where you don't have to worry about freezer burn, and you can actually use it up to a year from now. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to cut off about a quarter inch or so. It might be easier to do that like that. This is going to take a little while. I'll see you in a minute. Okay, we got all our okra cut up. That's going out to the compost pile. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get me a pot of boiling water, and we're going to blanch them for about 5 minutes. Okay, we're going to pull that off the heat there. I've got me some containers here, and I'm going to fill them up about halfway with the okra. I'm going to kind of strain it out there. Good old okra slime there. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some good cold water, and I'm just going to bring it right up to the tops of them, but no more. This will actually allow for long-term storage up to a year. And the other thing this is going to do is help stop the cooking process. This good cold water here. You don't want to go up any higher than about halfway on the bowl though, because you know how water is. When it freezes, it's going to expand, and you don't want it to come out the top of it. And I want to thank Web Cajun for this. He is an old legend on YouTube, and he actually says you can do about 80 to 90% of your vegetables this way. And he likes to use filtered water for a better taste. I've got good, cold, clean water. That'll work just fine too. I'm going to set this in front of a fan now. We're going to cap it up, and then we're going to set it in the freezer, and we'll basically freeze this in a block of ice. One that we did about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. You can see nice block of ice, and that ice forms a barrier from the freezer damage you can generally get. It kind of insulates it from it. And when the time comes, you can just pop this top off, dump the block over, and she'll come right out into your pan or your pot. Probably be really good for your stews and soups and things like that too. Well guys, I hope you found this helpful. If you did, would you consider sharing the video with your friends and family and your social media? It helps the channel out. We appreciate it. Be sure and give us a big thumbs up, and that helps as well. And if you have any other ideas on food preservation, I am all ears. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.